This CIS brawl ends on Dust 2. It's the classic CIS map. It's one that Spirit are very comfortable on. It's one where forZe can play it, but have never really convinced me. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can bounce back, though, because forZe definitely showed us some signs of life. Obviously looked very good on Inferno. Nuke was a different story, though, Alex, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a much more one-sided affair we just saw on Nuke, and now we get to see if it can continue for them into Dust 2, into a map that Spirit, I think, should be favored on. But as we were kind of saying there on the desk, there have been times where forZe have been able to get the better of this team on this very map. So heading into Dust 2, let's see how it all plays out. This elimination game, definitely an important one for these two teams. Spirit starting on the T side, and this A long control should be theirs for the taking. No one here from the CT side.
Well, diving out in towards A long, it's Mir that's got the charge on. He's the front man. This is a much different approach as to what they did yesterday in their T side pistol round. Very slow, tentative default across the map. Two in the tunnels, one up towards top middle, one holding A long, and one holding short. So we had a very different approach coming in from Team Spirit yesterday, but now it's the full stack in towards A long. And they're going to be charging up all 5 players this way. Full rotation from forZe. They realize there's going to be this A hit. They have one player still stuck on B, but he should be moving over as soon as they see this bomb. forZe and Mir trading back and forth, blow for blow. And it's a 4 versus 4 as Flit looks onto the bomb site. Sumdai Young wanting to move forward. He's going to move right into the crosshair of Flit, though, and the boost is going to pay off. He looks back to long for more as Chopper looking to try and patch up a hole. He'll continue to rattle away with the Glock, but no kills coming in. What a scrappy pistol round this is. But at the moment, it's favoring forZe. They've got the man advantage still, but Chopper finally strikes the action and gets a double, and he will finally go down to Flick, who's attempting the style point to the jump shot, but it's going to be Power who seals the deal, ends the round, and packages it up for forZe.
Yes, Spirit just could not get themselves onto this site. They couldn't get that bomb down. You see, they turn a little tentative as they arrive towards the site. I think because they were aware that Flit's boost was coming in, they just couldn't deal with that. And then Flit popped off in that round. Ended up getting a couple more kills on top of it. Really nice aim from him. Nice pistol round for forZe. And a good one for them to win early, just to gain some confidence. Get themselves rolling at the start of Dust 2. And here comes Jerry. MP9 sprays down 3. Well done against the low buy. Face crack will also follow through. And Spirit's low buy not netting them too much success.
Well, quick start from forZe, 2-0 up. And need a good start coming into Dust 2. I think it's almost paramount that forZe get off to a good start here. They did on Inferno, and we were able to follow up on that. But now they have to do this for the mentality. They have to get off to a good start to keep the heads in the right place after getting dominated on Nuke, only posting 5 rounds across the entire map. And we were talking about the fact that they can play Nuke, which is the frustrating part for this team. And so coming into Dust 2, they've got to show us what they're made of. Face crack with a good kill on the FAMAS, but Mir elsewhere, trading back up into the B-bomb site. And Power, okay, with a scout, he's still rocking that. He's very good with this weapon. He's taking down Magix with a headshot. And a 4 versus 3. A man advantage in play for forZe, thanks to the scout of Power. Underhanded smoke from Mir. He's trying to play at the edge of it, trying to isolate the fight in towards middle without being spotted from the CT spawn.
Bomb goes down on that B site. A couple of smokes and an incendiary for forZe, which could come in handy on this retake. Armays are beginning to clear out the tunnels. Scout in from face crack. Eye disbalance is at that back spot, so the Molotov might be what they need. It's going to force him out. Oh, great shot from Zapala. They don't even need the Molotov. The shot's being landed, and Mir's got 4 players, and face crack takes him down. Good shot with the scout. Good retake from forZe.
Get on the defuse.
That was looking pretty decent.
There we go.
They're all right. They're all right. They got it.
Thought you were going to pull a G2 there, but they got it. 3-0 up. forZe. I mean, we usually talk about how difficult the B-bomb site is to retake. Even this version with the doors flipped around, it's good for initially holding, and yes, you can take the fight at that car position, but for the most part, it's still a very difficult site to retake. The fact that forZe made that retake look so easy is unbelievable. So good start from forZe. They'll be feeling very happy about that. They've got 4 AK-47s and an open play in the 4th round on the CT side.
Ooh, wow, it's not helped them too much in the first fight. That AWP you were talking about is taken out of the hands of the power. Good shot from iDisbalance, even though he got flashed. Now it's the 4 AKs remaining that you were talking about. Well, I say 4 AKs. FaceCrack switched that out now. He has decided to pick up the AWP. Falls down a man early, having to spread out somewhat. See on the mini-map, they're unable to really hold their same positions they wanted to. At least they've got that long control, though. Even though they lost the pick there early, they've been able to put a man all the way pushed up through long. So that gives them a bit of information. But at the same time, if Spirit start to investigate up through short and mid, that really cuts off forZe. It really puts a gap down the middle of their defense. They're not going to be able to rotate between the sites easily. And if Spirit just group up and go for a 5v2 push, you've got to think that their trades would be able to get them onto one of these bomb sites.
Well, the charge down middle coming through from Team Spirit. They're going to be sending the forces up in towards this B bomb site. Almirza, oh, the timing. He pulls his near just the wrong time, but he still manages to get a kill. Flip backing him up as well. Almirza just holding this position down. You don't really think about it that way, but you can also just hold the doors from that spot. Works the opposite way. And Sumda Young, he'll get one. And Khalil rattling away onto Almirza. Now, well, a 1 versus 2. For Sumda Young to try and win. We were talking about his star potential over on the previous map. He certainly had a good performance for Team Spirit, and now he has to win the clutch. Quickly diving past the borders of power, but he's stuck in the open, and the AWP gets a second chance. It's going to be FaceCrack taking him down, and it's 4-0 forZe. A pretty dominant start, to be honest. Really good stuff coming in. Team Spirit, we see what they've got. It's going to be a little half-buy coming in. A couple of pistols, a little bit of Kevlar. And forZe, well, they've got the rifles in play. Should be a 5th round. Absolutely no problems.
Yeah, good hold from the 2 players on the B site for forZe there. Even when Almirza nearly gets caught in the open. But here comes Magic. Spam down onto Jerry. No assistance just yet. FaceCrack now trying to see if he can get this belated trade kill. He needs to make sure he doesn't lose this fight, because otherwise the rifle would be lost. And Magix is trapped in the corner, but in at short, that's where the rest of the Spirit players are pushing right now. FaceCrack's still trying to get this kill, but the push has come into the bomb site, and it looks like Spirit are finding them. Finally, FaceCrack hunts down that frag, but it's all on Almirza. First kill is good, but there's one more man waiting on the site. SDY does go down. Good work from Almirza, but that came way too close for comfort.
Well, he grabs himself the 5th round for forZe, but like you said, way too close for comfort. We talked about it yesterday. We've seen those quick plays up through short when you've got the lower buy. That's what Dust 2 is good for. Getting that bomb down, getting a couple of kills quickly, and you nearly walk away with a round win. But Team Spirit, they just get the money. They get the 4 kills. Now we go into round number 6 with their first proper chance at winning here. They've got all of the AKs, the utility on every single player, and the AWP out for iDisbalance. As this play comes in towards long very quickly. It's isolated though. That Molotov, some of that young separate from the rest of his teams. And while he's going to throw the smoke down onto the Molotov, flash over the top. And while iDisbalance has a gap to play with, and that's the power's death sentence. The smoke really playing in favor of Team Spirit there, and they've got the man advantage because of it.
Ooh, good kill from Almirza as well. Almost a burst fire shot there, and iDisbalance is still going. Still dishing out the damage. Finally, he misses his mark, and SDY has to get that bomb back. He's able to do so, and he's able to get away safely. Jerry not playing too aggressively on the backside of the smoke. I don't know exactly where Flit is, though, and Flit's coming up close to these doors, going for the fight, but SDY is prepared for it. And now Jerry's got to win a 1v2 with the AWP, and as long as the bomb goes back through the tunnels, it should be safe to cross. SDY has a smoke for the doors, which he should be using. There it is. And now Jerry has basically no chance of denying the cross, and he's got to get the reaction shot, which won't be happening for him. Chopper outpositions him, and Spirit get themselves on the board. And look at forZe's money.
It's pretty incredible how the damage being done from Team Spirit in that low half-buy round has actually seen such an effect on forZe just after 1 round loss. They really have invested everything into this. They've left nothing on the table, but it's worked out. We've seen before. forZe can pull these kind of rounds off just with an AWP in the hands of Zapower and the rest on SMGs and pistols. It's a round that forZe can win pretty often. Spirit have got a lot of control early on, though, Alex. The Molotovs are down, the smokes are down here, and they've got the A site. They don't know it yet, but the flank is coming in from long, so we'll want to take that site as quickly as possible. Sumdai Young has been tasked with holding A long.
Very slow on the plant. Finally, it goes down. forZe have no kit, remember, so they've got to get some quick kills to have a chance here. And SDY almost falls. Thankfully, Mir's there to help his buddy out. FaceCrack looking for a kill with the MP9. He finally wins that first fight for forZe. It's into a 2v1. Split the last man left. Spots the head, but he doesn't get the chance to pull the trigger. He's not quick enough to get that kill. And now I think Magix will just bide his time. Will just sit back. Oh, actually, he goes into the open and he gets the kill. Flit not ready for that angle. Magix closes out the round. Again, another round that was really frantic once we got those kills in play. But Spirit end up winning it. And this time, it has to be a low buy for forZe. Or maybe even a no buy. Oh, okay.
You don't really like to see that if you're Cobra. That's hilarious. Well, it's taking a lot of damage on board. Mir down in towards the lower tunnels. Oh, a second kill as well. They're just going to cut through these default pistols. It's a round that Team Spirit should never really have too many problems in. Just imagine if you're Chopper, though. Imagine if that's a better pistol. A deagle or a rifle, for that matter. Just boom. That would be quite depressing if you're Chopper. Nonetheless, they do clear out long. All the utility used up the deep CT smoke, so just really making sure they leave no stone unturned. They want the round win, they want it cleanly, and they want to build up as much money as possible without dropping any players. And that's exactly what's going to happen here, bar any exit kills from forZe.
So a 5-0 lead from forZe, and Spirit start winning some rounds back. Pretty varied in their approach in their round wins as well. A couple on towards A. They obviously had that round at B. They've shown an ability to play across the map, which is definitely a positive sign for Team Spirit. Haven't seen quite as much as we might have expected out of either AWPer. It's not like either of them are having a poor performance, but they're more middle of the pack than you might expect on Dust 2. There it is, though. Confirmed that Spirit have got their third round on the board. And forZe's money still isn't great. I think they're just going to grit their teeth and go for the buy. You already see those. If Howard's only got a scout, Almas is able to get the AUG, but some of the utility missing, no kit in play on the forZe side of things. That's especially a problem when you have to play retake on that A site. Without that sniper, it's much more difficult to hold it down. And ooh, so Power's playing a really dangerous game at mid right now with the scout. Takes damage through the wall. He's actually down to 7 health. And look at this stack from forZe on the minimap. 3 players stacked on short. They want to fight hard for this position, but that's at the cost of leaving A long wide open.
On Team Spirit, answer was long. You've got Idis Balance all the way back near the pit with a scope. And our Team Spirit start to walk their way up long. Just very slow, methodical again. Team Spirit, they've been very good at this throughout the entirety of Dust 2 so far. Just leaving no stone unturned, making sure that they aren't caught off by anything. All the smokes in place, all the utility coming in at the right time. But forZe, they've got enough players over here to make it difficult for Team Spirit. They're going to have to deal with this. Defense is certainly there, but the flashbangs have been on point. It's prevented them from peeking into the start and taking the fights, but finally they go for the boost, but Idis Balance is going to take down Flit. FaceCrack and Almaze are finding 2 back, but it's even trades up until this point. Almaze are doing good work. The Power also assisting, and now it's just magic. A whole 1 versus 3 for him, and it just isn't going to happen. It's forZe who continue to rattle round wins in their favor, so hopefully we've got ourselves a good, close, competitive final map.
That was a cool round from forZe as well, realizing that they had a bit of a weaker buy, realizing they didn't just want to give up that A site easily and just have to kind of play that retake setup without an AWP and without a kit. So they just decided to push up with 3 players through short, and it works out pretty nicely for them. They get some good information. They start to get that flank going. You saw on the minimap at the end of the round, every single Spirit player kind of dying around that A ramp position. Good information from forZe. A nice little round to throw in as a bit of a wrinkle, one that's hard to predict. Spirit clearly weren't ready for it. Now into this one, Zapower's able to get the AWP into his hands. Not going to spot anyone just yet, but Spirit have got a couple of players around this short position. And if you remember yesterday, Spirit had real problems in these short battles. So many rounds, Mir and Chopper tried to move into short, and they struggled, and there it is again. Zapower with a fantastic shot onto Chopper.
Smoke down for CT. FaZeCrack playing the gap here. 43 seconds. Now the gathering of the troops comes to the B-bomb site. Now he's balanced. He's going to lose the duel against the FAMAS. That's not exactly how that should have gone. And well, Magic is going to be shut down. FaZeCrack doing so much with the FAMAS. What the hell is that from FaZeCrack? And Flint steals the teal. That's unbelievable. The weakest weapon that you could, the weakest rifle you could buy up on the CT side. And he makes it work. Takes down the all providers balance, repositions and holds off the tunnel offense. That's brilliant from FaZeCrack.
Yeah, great lineup. He's been having a good series throughout as well. He's definitely been one of the better performers on the force side. Up there with Almazer, I'd say. Top fragging here on Dust too as well. I do think quite a lot of the issues in that round at least stemmed back to not being able to get that short control on the Spirit side of things, though. That's why FaZeCrack's still in that position where he can help it be so quickly. If you get forced back at short, then you have to make some tough decisions, but that didn't end up happening. Nice flash to force the power back. Flitz traded out in a 1-for-1. So it's into a 4v4. So Power's still focused on mid for the time being, but he can rotate over to assist at B if needed. Oh, missed shot from Zapower there. Had the chance to maybe make the difference for his team. Now Spirit not giving him that second opportunity, at least not for the time being.
Smoke up on the Xbox. Players crossing on by the left side. Somebody young getting picked off. Almazer with the headshot. And well, iDisbalance peeks into the open. And Almazer's torn to shreds. 3 versus 3 and 35 seconds left on this clock. Where's iDisbalance going to go with this one? Does he just walk up short? And Jerry's the only defensive player on the bomb side itself. Got a bit of a push going on for FaZeCrack in towards long. He might go head on. Up against Chopper here. The Deagle comes down to the timing whether or not Chopper gets around the backside. Still aware of this. It's going to be the push out through short now. Jerry's going to be under the pressure. Let's see if he can hold it. And it's going to be iDisbalance. The one player with the rifle down with the bomb as well. Magic has to run back and immediately start planting. He's going for the cash. Jerry hears it, knows he has to commit to the plan, and he'll take him down. It's 3. And it will be the 1-round lead minimum going into the second half for forZe.
Good work from Jerry. I think he's been someone who individually has been struggling somewhat since coming back from the player break, but here on Dust 2, I think part of the reason why forZe are finding a lot of success is the fact that everyone's showing up. Pretty much everyone at the similar kill count except for FaZeCrack, who's leading the way. Nice shot from SDY, though. He had the spawn for long. He takes the AWP, and he gives his team the early man advantage. FaZeCrack taken out of the round early. forZe having to fight back from a 4v5, but they've got the double set up to do it. Well, they don't have it anymore. iDisbalance gets that fight against Flit, who goes for the mid peak, goes for the risky play, doesn't pay off for him. And from this point on, Spirit should be firm favorites to win this round.
Smoke up. Lands into the site, hits off the head of Almazer. Another push comes through in towards the B-bomb site. Almazer will hide in the corner, and they're going to start swinging in towards him. It's the 1 kill from Almazer. Mir does a little bit of work and a 2nd kill out of nowhere. And that's the kind of round Team Spirit are looking for most of the time. Just hasn't really been working for them here. Jerry trying to get something to work with here, but Team Spirit just cut through the defense, just effective headshots, basically. And that's really good stuff. I mean, at this point, Mir, I feel, has been a little bit quiet in comparison to what he can do. But if he starts to wake up here on Dust 2, well, that's exciting for Spirit. That's definitely a way back into things. And this is just a very pick-bit style of play from the team, using their individual skill, which we know is this team's strength. And they just light it up.
This time, Chopper's got the spawn, so it's his turn to land the AWP shot. Let's see if he's up to the task. Power not quite rounding the corner. There's no flashes this time. Ooh, God, that was scary from Chopper. Couple of flashes to over the top from him. And I think he'll just give the AWP back to Idisbound, who was able to land the shots previously. Mir making the move through mid, though, and the AWP could be in trouble. Somehow it's still alive. That Molotov could cause some issues, though. He's burning, and he's dead. Mir burns him to a crisp, but at least the AWP is recovered by face crack.
Well, the push up through short, it's going to send multiple players this way. Chopper, the front man, he's got the Molotov at the ready, and he will start to clear these corners. The left side of Goose, and now on the default position as well. The bomb plant will be confirmed. Mir letting it happen. That's face crack with AWP. He has the goal of saving that into the next round again. So, Team Spirit, 5 rounds on the board. They make the scoreline 8-7. That's respectable, especially because it has been pretty dominant by forZe in a lot of these rounds. And Team Spirit really figured out the pace they want to set. I feel like that's been their issue for across the last 2 days on Dust 2. And even in general, we kind of talked about it a lot. I think we've exhausted this point, but Team Spirit have really struggled on their timings. But I feel like they're starting to figure out what pace they like to set here on Dust 2 in the last couple of rounds at least.
Yeah, definitely been a marked improvement in these last couple. Especially since the start of the game, where they went 5-0 down on this map. Again, this is the elimination game here in Group B between these two CIS teams. I think it's fair to say Spirit have been getting the better of forZe recently, not only in terms of results between these two teams, but in terms of results in tournaments and the excitement level around them. You know, Spirit have come second recently in the RMR event, only second to Na'Vi. They've been having those good performances at DreamHack Masters. They've really been making a name for themselves. So if forZe could get this win, I'm sure that would be a big boost for them. Right now, it's looking decent, especially with the power landing shots. 2 kills on the short hold to kick things off.
Oh, Mir, good headshot. There's 2 picked up for him. There's a power just on the right side. The Glock. No way. Not like this. There we go, Mir. That's exactly what you like to see. 3 kills picked up from one man. He even does it on the Glock. Take you down to power. And somebody, he's tucked in the corner. Almir doesn't see him up until it's too late. Flit will get the quick scope, but Mir is there for the 4K. What a fantastic round from this man. It's the 6th round for Team Spirit, and we head into the last round of the first half. And Team Spirit have stepped it up. They needed to, and this is a much better performance.
Marvelous from Mir. The Glock comes out for that kill. He rotates round, gets the headshot on a jumping player as well. Ooh, auto sniper bought as well in this last round of the half, and I think Zapal has just been tagged down by that. 7 health left for him. Chopper trying to make the most of all of that commotion. Emerging through the mid doors, but he decides to go back. forZe's buy really not great in the last round of the half here. Not much to work with, only a couple of primary weapons, largely pistols and an MP9 and a scout in the mix. So weaponry-wise, forZe having some issues here. Could very well be a 7th round for Spirit. And if that's the case, then Spirit will be pretty happy. They will have recovered and put themselves in a position where they can definitely press on and try and win this one. Got to make sure they can close out this last round first, though. These rounds can be difficult sometimes.
Oh, okay. Nice shot. I feel like the power is probably, if we look at a statistic in terms of headshot percentage with scoped weapons, other than the AUG and the Krieg, obviously, I feel like we would see the power at the top of that list. The amount of headshots he gets with ops and scouts is just ridiculous. He's going to go again. There's another one added to the tally, of course. And Magic's, he's on his own. He won't peek into the open, but he needs all of these kills. And somehow the weaker weapons have prevailed at the moment. Magic's needs the big clutch. And Looking down in towards short. There's another kill added to the tally, but he's out of ammo. He switches to the Glock, and this is huge for Magic. He's going for the one tap, and he's on 1 HP, 1 bullet in the chamber as well. He'll go for the reload. He throws the Glock as the fake flash, and he goes for the clutch, but it's Jerry that will walk away with it. forZe lead the way at the half, 9-6. We'll see if they can close it, or will Team Spirit bounce back as they move into the second.
One more half will decide the fate of these two teams in this tournament. One of them will be going home. One of them will be staying in contention here in our CIS matchup. forZe currently with a 9-6 lead, but definitely one that Spirit have been fighting back in. And heading into this CT side, we get some early aggression into the tunnels. Chopper not wasting any time here, trying to take the fight to his opponents. 2 bullets left, and the last one gets the headshot. Good start for him, and Spirit get it into a 4v4.
Good start for the T side here. It's definitely going to favor them. Weakens the defense across the board for Team Spirit. They try the aggression. Chopper getting the 1 pick, but once they effectively trade back, that's good enough. And now Magix realizes, well, you have to get a little bit of space working here. They push forward 2 players into the tunnels. That works out for Almeza. He takes down Magix, and that forces away Chopper. Some die young elsewhere, taking significant damage. He's down to 7 HP. This is not looking good for Team Spirit. They desperately need this pistol round as well.
Yeah, this is worrying for them. Lots of time for forZe as well. They're all going to group up towards long. The aggression from Spirit might allow them to get this flank going. They're hearing these steps, but they have to walk behind forZe. They could really do with Chopper delaying on the site itself here. Chopper's arriving. He's looking to play disruption. There's the first kill. That could slow forZe down. This flank is starting to come in. Chopper dishing out the damage, but forZe having to look both ways. iDisbalance finally pulls the trigger. There's a second, looking for more, and he doesn't get the final kill. Chopper steals it away, but who the hell cares? Spirit bouncing back, making sure they win the pistol round. And as you said, a much needed pistol for them. So great recovery.
Yeah, it's a really solid recovery, especially because for the majority of the pistol round, it was just forZe all day long. It looked like forZe had it in the bag, but a real step-up performance coming in across the board, and the SMG is now getting aggressive into the lower tunnel. Flit is going to be on low HP. So Power with a P250 managed to pick up one. And this is not the start that Team Spirit would have been hoping for. Interestingly, go for that aggression.
Ooh. Chopper mowing them down with the lawnmower, the MP9 getting a couple of nice kills. Into a 3v3 though, FaceTrack gets another one. Finally, SDY is able to pounce, able to take him down. The bomb's been dropped as well. And SDY wants to get more, and there is more where that came from. Second kill for him, and Flit only has 9 health. So even though forZe bring it close, I don't think they're winning this one.
So Team Spirit getting the AWP out into the hands of iDisbalance early on. It is going to be a glass cannon, but they realize it's important to get the weapon into his hands as much as possible. They want him to deliver as much impact as he can immediately here. And so Power, you know he's getting the AWP in his hands as often as he can. We see him have the AWP so often, he would rather take the glass cannon than a rifle with Kevlar. And while Chopper burning away Jerry early on, it's the battle of the in-game leaders, and one of them is barbecued.
Good for Spirit that they get the early advantage as well, considering they have some weaker weapons in play. forZe going for this short control, though. That's something that Spirit didn't do much of on their T side. Normally, it's a big part of every team's T side. forZe, though, not with many nades to make this play work. Exapower is the only man with any pieces of utility, and considering there's an AWP against them, these flashes have got to be important, and they do land.
The bomb plant confirmed by Flit. The time ticking away. Now the CT players making noise, obviously. Took his gun away. Flashback at the ready, and now the explosion onto the site. The retake attempt has to come on in. Flash is up. Face crack looking towards long. A player about to come into his crossbar from the CT side. And it's Flit, Almizra, and Zapow with 3 quick kills, all in tandem. And it's iDisbalance having to run away. He hasn't even got Kevlar. This AWP was a huge investment, and it hasn't worked out for Team Spirit. It'll be forZe taking the first gun round into the second half, reaching double figures on Dust 2.
Yeah, that's really well worked by forZe as well. Considering they had just a single smoke and 2 flashes to get onto that A-bomb site, they really made the most of them. The smoke landed much deeper on the site than you'd normally see, and the flash from Zapower to begin with, even though iDisbalance gets the 1 kill, it forces him away from the angle long enough so that forZe could just sneak on by, get onto that bomb site, and get themselves in a great position to win the round. Taking a look at the scoreboard, not much in it between the two teams, in all honesty. No one really pulling away massively from the rest of the pack. It's the more aggressive players currently top fragging for both teams. Face Crack and Mir, definitely 2 of the players who are more willing to take fights early in the round. But overall, definitely a thin margin between these two teams right now. forZe currently with the 10-8 lead. But certainly it's still anyone's game here as we head into round 19. iDisbalance has that saved AWP. The rest of the squad, though, are not able to get any more premium rifles. So this is a round where you'd love to see iDisbalance stepping up for Spirit. And I think they're trying to boost him at mid to begin with. Chopper also getting boosted up to short. So all sorts of boosts coming in for Spirit to try and find something early into this round. forZe just playing it slow, though.
Yeah, it's one of those rounds where you have to pull out the gimmicks. You have to try and do something different to get rid of the disadvantage, or at least try and neutralize it as much as you possibly can. Nothing working out just yet, though, for Team Spirit. forZe haven't given them anything. And it comes down to this. I think the power is about to find himself an opening. Very difficult shot to hit. It's one of the fastest openers we have, but not quite working out there. iJustBalance knows the AWP is in middle, though, and he wants a piece of the pie. He wants to see if he can take that fight with that smoke coming up. Severs his information flow, so he will go elsewhere. Might make the right call here playing the A bomb site. 3 players about to come out A long. Chopper's about to get the info, ready for the flashbang. It's perfect. A perfect flash. And while Young gets one on the scout, it's the power going down, getting a taste of his own medicine, but Jerry's there, able to reply with the AWP, and now Chopper's under pressure inside of the pit. iJustBalance in the car. He will be looking for these kills as the players exit the longhouse, and it's an easy kill for iJustBalance. The smoke is down, and Chopper with a nice kill, rattling away onto Almeza. It's a man advantage off the weaker weapons here for Team Spirit. A round they desperately need to pick up, and Jerry looks to try and break their hearts. It's a 1 versus 3 in total for the in-game leader. He's got the first already. Mir is low and short, and he's just spotted him as well. He's aware of Magic's possible position. He takes his head right off. He's so low in HP, and this would be the ace clutch for Jerry. The bomb plant confirmed. Mir now just 1 bullet from death, and Jerry's gonna pull it off. 11 rounds for forZe, and the in-game leader stands tall.
Oh, Jerry's the savior for forZe in this one. AWP shots to begin with, switches it out to the AK later in the round. Chopper was out of ammo there in pit, so he gets him in the back. And then Jerry getting these rapid headshots to close out the round. Great work from him to keep forZe on top. And that could be a real difference maker. That could be the round they think back on as the one that put them in a great position to win the game. Because look at what Spirit have. Just USPs now. That round is so impactful from Jerry. It's going to likely put forZe up to a 12-8 lead. It's going to put them in such a better position to win this game, assuming they don't lose to the USPs, which I think is a safe assumption, Dinko. But you never know when you get these domestic matchups. Crazier things have happened.
The smoke is going to go down for the cross. It's the power holding on. The peak did come around the corner, but not able to take the kill. So he's just waiting by. This player's inside of the site as well. Just waiting for a head to show over the smoke. In the meantime, his teammates are moving closer to the bomb site. Follow-up utility coming through as well. It's the wall of smoke's in for forZe. And now the MAC-10 sent in first. The information gatherer, the expendable weapon, and Jerry's going to start to rattle them away. The kill after kill, money being built up, and a 12th round added to the collection of forZe. They don't lose a single player, and they are now 4 rounds away of knocking out Team Spirit and really putting 1 notch on their belt in terms of this rivalry.
Yeah, absolutely. As Blair was saying on the desk, this is, I guess you call it a rivalry, but you kind of have to have both teams winning for it to be a rivalry. And so far in 2020, it's been all Spirit. They've won 6 best of 3s against forZe. forZe are yet to get a win, but this could be their first time getting the win on the board. Timeout taken by the forZe side into this round as well. So far, forZe have been finding a lot of success towards that A site. I wonder if at one point they will switch it up and go for a B play, though. Maybe it is worth faking out that A site a bit, getting that short control, and then seeing if you can go back to B. We'll wait and see what they decide to do heading into this one, because Team Spirit aren't quite on their last legs, but they're getting close to that point. They've got the buy, but they don't have the AWP, they don't have a kit, they're missing nades across the board, and if they lose this one, their money's in a really rough spot, and that is a nice shot from Zapower at the start of this round. Magic's down to 20 health before he even gets to the B site. It's always annoying when that happens to you, but it's just part of playing the B site on Dust 2, unfortunately.
iJustBalance already up and short. Got Jerry in the lower tunnel. as the rest of the squad start to gather a middle as well. We've got Chopper up here with the utility. Have to go down. Find his balance with the close stairs. He'll spring around the corner here. Jerry right in front of him. And the utility being used up. Smoke down in front of his face. And Chopper, he wanted to go through that. He wanted to try and play inside of the smoke and catch off a player, but the flashbang prevents him from doing so, and the follow-up Molotov as well. That's going to buy forZe time. They're being methodical in their approach, but that flashbang is brilliant from Magic. It allows one kill. It disjoints the attack and allows easy pickings for Team Spirit. This was looking good for forZe. It's still doable, but it's split into a 1 versus 3 with 30 seconds left and no possession of the bomb. Team Spirit certainly have put themselves in the favorable position. Flip with the first headshot, taking down Chopper through the doorway, and the follow-up chance is there, but it's the kill from Sumdai Young, and Spirit will add another round to the tally.
There's a switch up I was talking about that we might see more mid-play from forZe this time round. But now the question is, do you go back to that A site that was so successful for you previously? You tried the switch up, it didn't work out. Mir and Chopper both getting 2 kills each. forZe at the start of this one going back into more of a default stance across the map, putting players in every single position to make sure they don't lose any map control. Both AWPers currently hanging round mid. I don't know if iDisbalance is too interested in taking the wide angle fight, though. You can see he's not even peeking the small gap. So forZe are allowed to move up into short safely. And again, iDisbalance lets that other man cross. forZe all positioned on short. They've been doing a really good job so far at just using their nade to get onto the site, to get the quick bomb plants, and to force Spirit to have these hard retakes. And I could see them just going for the same again here. They're already lining up these smokes. They're going to see if they can get onto this A site.
On the utility at the ready, the Molotov going down in towards short. That's going to keep the players at bay. With the nade landing on top of Almirza. That drops into 50. 50 seconds left on the clock as well. Eventually, forZe are going to go with this. The Catwalk execute the standard, execute on Dust 2, and diving right off with the weaker weapon. It's the Tech 9 that takes the first kill. It's Chopper down.
Oh, FaceCrack even gets a gun as well. This is glorious for FaceCrack. He might get a chance for another kill, doing the damage. Almost gets that one, but it's Zapower who lands the shot from the back lines. And SDY, if he doesn't get a kill soon, might not be able to win the round for his team. There's Zapower getting another one. Spirit looking desperate at this point, looking down and out of this round. Zapower closes it out with a triple kill. And now Spirit's money is in tatters. It's in dire straits. And forZe have a 13-9 lead. This went really well for them as well. FaceCrack getting that first kill really helps out, but Zapower can then just be really mobile across the A site, landing those long-range AWP shots, and it has to be a full save for Spirit. Oh, and there's the headshot for Zapower. It's only against the USPs, but it's still a nice shot.
This is going to be a round that forZe have no issues with. And they still do it in style. Keep Spirit pushing through the tunnels, up towards spawn, play a little bit of football as well. Or stalker for you Americans, or whoever else says that. Wrong terminology. And forZe, the smoke, execute down in towards CT as well. Just making sure that they confirm themselves the round win. They don't want to be losing to these USPs. They don't want to be taking casualties. I mean, the money isn't actually even that good, so it's all about keeping these players alive. FaceCrack was trying to figure out where he's being shot from. There were so many noises going on. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where those bullets were coming from. Figures out in the end, and the kills do start to rain in. forZe, they'll clean this one up easily enough. It's just Magic left alone on 16 HP, and Almirza will dome him. 14-9, 2 away from victory here for the forZe side.
Definitely pressure on now for Team Spirit. Again, their money has never been that great throughout this CT side. They've never been able to get these ideal buys together. AWP out for iDisbalance, FAMAS for Magics. Not many nades again, no kit for them. I think the lack of kit's been a real problem. Think of how many rounds Spirit have been left in these retake scenarios on A. When you don't have the kit there, it's really difficult to actually get back towards the site quickly enough. Especially when there are still maybe 4 or even 5 forZe players alive. It's so difficult to clear out all those spots so quickly and have to go for a 10-second defuse. And Spirit have another situation here where they don't have the kit in play, and this time they have to win this round to have a chance of winning this one in regulation. So a lot of pressure on, a lot of weight on Spirit's shoulders into this round. forZe again just going for this standard spread across the map.
Yeah, this is the most impressed I've been with forZe on Dust 2 from recent memory. They're looking really solid. They have an idea for pretty much every single round, and it's different. Look at this haul from Flit as well. Not going to be expecting this. They're going to walk in. He gets 2 from that position. That's huge. That puts forZe in a huge winnable position, in the best position possible right now. And iDisbalance is blinded and forced away. And now this push coming in towards the A bomb site continues to rain through it. iDisbalance just getting absolutely shadowed by forZe. And SomDaeYoung and Mir, the last 2 standing players for this Team Spirit side. And it's pretty much done. They have to fall away. They cannot win this. And like you said, Team Spirit's chances of winning this in regulation are gone. They've got to be flawless just to pull it to overtime. It's looking like forZe are going to be eliminating them.
Another fantastic round from forZe as well. I'm loving what we're seeing from them here on this T side. Flit doing a really solid job at just holding the tunnels. I always like that position he held there because you can always drop away pretty quickly if you need to. But he just decides to stick and fight, and he gets 2 for the price of 1. He gets a favorable trade for his team, and then those flashes onto A have been so successful, have been so effective for forZe. The flashes have lasted long enough to allow FaceCrack there to drop down, to get up close. They peak at basically the exact same time. FaceCrack even died to the bomb there in celebration because he doesn't even care. They're 15-9 up. That was a really nice A play, and that's been the big difference, I think. forZe have been able to get that short control. They've been able to get towards that A site. That's something that Spirit struggled with, and now Spirit are on their last legs. They have to win this one. Decent buy for them, decent rifles across the board, but forZe have got themselves another perfect buy. And this time the A long battle's not really commencing. Nades will deny that from happening. Could be a pretty big switch up here, Dinko. We haven't really seen a straight up B play from forZe, but they're all in the tunnels at the start of this.
This might be the perfect way to close this. All 5 players gathered outside the B bomb site looking just impact with sheer force. And this is what forZe is so good at. They start to run in through as FaceCrack on that hard entry, finding that first kill on the iDisbalance. The follow-up from Almizu, second man in. Jerry's the only player falling so far, and it looks like forZe have done it. Chopper and SomDaeYoung, the last 2 players. Chopper with a P250. He's now been dropped down to 49 health points as well. And SomDaeYoung is so far removed. They've got to have one of the most incredible retakes and we've ever seen to get back into this B-bomb site and win this round. And while it's a nice try, but Flit just tears SomDaeYoung's head off. It was a really nice attempt, but it is done here. forZe will eliminate Team Spirit in the Battle of CIS. Will go in favor of forZe. They finally break the curse. And Team Spirit, it's a disappointing result for them here. I think they would have been expecting far more of themselves. They looked a little shaky this entire tournament. A little bit of work to be done coming out of the player break.
Yeah, we were expecting Spirit to be one of the dark horses, I think, in this tournament, but they're already out, and fair play to forZe. That T side especially, so many rounds where FaceCrack was able to get the entries, and so many rounds where he was set up to get those entries. A lot of good flashbangs from forZe. I think that really made the difference here on Dust 2. A lot of close round wins as well. I'm just looking at the stats. 4 rounds went down to 1vx situations. forZe won all of those. So they were winning the tight rounds, and those can make all the difference. In a 16-9 win, those few rounds you win can maybe force your opponents down to a low buy and just get you over the line.
Yeah, well, an impressive performance from forZe. That's it for the European region. Today we've had some great matchups, and to break it all down, we'll have the desk right after this break.
it was a series that went the whole 9 yards, and ultimately forZe would come out on top. 16-9 for the dominant CIS squad in this showing as they live to fight another day. Blair, we weren't expecting forZe to take this one, considering their storied history with Spirit coming into this, but now they've managed to take their first win of the year against them. They must be so ecstatic.
Oh, they must be. And I feel like this is a win that they desperately needed, at least for their own mental well-being. Because like I said, they're a team who've been struggling kind of like in this 4th, 5th position in the CIS region. But we know what this team can do. You look at the names in the lineup, you're like, how is this team not playing better Counter-Strike? And I felt like they kind of elevated the level overall on Dust 2. It never really seemed like to me that Spirit were really in that game, unlike on Nuke. And it's a good showing overall. I got to give them kudos for it. And looking at the stats as well, it was an all-around show. Look at the kill spread. That is what stood out for me the most. Almazer, bottom fragging, 17 frags, top fragger and FaZe with 22. Just goes to show just a 5 kill difference between the top and bottom fragger, meaning everyone is putting in the work. It wasn't just about Z Power Flit just dropping, close to 30 bombs to win them those duels. And again, the openings, man, Z Power and FaZe, 11 kills between the two of them. It was a pretty dominant showing, and I won't lie, I thought it would be a much more closer affair on Dust 2.
Yeah, I don't think you would be the only one presuming it would be going that way. And from your side, Christine, did you see any particular strengths coming out of forZe? Because, as we were saying before the game began, Dust 2, not necessarily one of their strengths, particularly up against Spirit. Was there anything that particularly impressed you by them?
Yeah, definitely. I guess for sure sharing is caring, so that evenly distributed ADR and frags definitely helps. But also the approach that forZe were bringing, there was so much pressure towards that mid, and this enabled forZe to have an easy time doing that A set piece, that A execute, where they just sent FaZe flying down into the CT spawn and trying to get that pick towards long A as Timo interrupts and tries to take all the attention away. As
Timo's very excited about the win. He's obviously a forZe fan back there.
He's just as satisfied as Jerry is. And man, Jerry, we got to talk about Jerry. He had so many clutches, and I wouldn't say worried, but I did expect him to have a little bit more moments. If we think back even on Nuke, there was a moment where he got caught off guard on that reload, got mowed down by the pistols, and I thought, oh no, not like this, not again. But I'm so glad to see him coming out on top, converting these clutch rounds, and having some hero moments for himself.
Yeah, he really was indeed. And it was something that we were talking about a little bit before in the other maps. A little bit of a slow start there from Spirit, but it was kind of interesting to see how they were adapting. But obviously forZe coming up trumps in this match, and particularly FaZe as well. We were kind of talking about him. Porter, I know you wanted to highlight some of his incredible plays.
Yeah. And these are just going to be some quick highlights. I just had to kind of put him on a pedestal here because sometimes it's not easy being the sacrificial lamb that your team depends on to buy you that space, buy you that ground. And it's just such a bonus when you're able to find the openings, find the entries, whether you have a Tech 9, an MP9, an AK. FaZe just seemed to make things work for himself and make things work for his team.
Yeah, he was looking pretty dominant indeed. And as you mentioned, Blair, it is really nice to see those kills evenly spread across the board as well. And it's actually something that we were talking about with Z Power as well coming into this series. It felt like he had, a little bit of a slow start, but here he definitely showed up to play.
Oh yeah, he just has to play his role, right? As an AWP player, you want to be the guy getting those opening picks. And one thing I liked about Z Power, even going back to Nuke, which they lost pretty convincingly, he was so mobile with the AWP. And for me personally, I know it's it's a personal preference. I like having a more dynamic opper, and I feel like he fits that role. And obviously, he's got the reflexes as well for himself. But the player for me, the MVP for me for this matchup has to be Almazer. He's the player I pointed out at the beginning of the series, saying he's been struggling. I needed him to step up a little bit, and he finished off the series on 60 kills, 43 deaths, along with a 1.34 HLTV rating, the highest in the entire server. The closest behind him was FaZe in 53. So he really stepped it up, and I got to give him kudos for that.
Yeah, he really did step up to the plate. It's awesome to see all the different players all stepping up on each of the respective maps. And I think that's something that we kind of want to talk about a little bit, is this storied rivalry between both of these teams. Blair, we were talking about it beforehand. The fact that forZe hadn't taken a win against Team Spirit this year. Obviously, Team Spirit coming out first at that RMR event. I'm kind of wondering what you see for the CIS scene coming out of this player break and going forward.
It's a CIS region, man. Like it's just complete chaos. I remember casting some of the games for the Road to Rio earlier, and it was it's just like there is no consistency, and the only consistent team in the region is Spirit. If you go back to Na'Vi, sure, they won their second RMR, but look at what happened in the first one, right? There is no consistency, and Spirit was the one hope, that one rock where I'm like, you know what? If everything goes to shit, Spirit's there, but now they lost to forZe. I don't know. I'm still gonna assume that Spirit are gonna be bouncing back pretty convincingly. They are the kings of that region alongside Na'Vi in my books. But at the same time, I want to see them playing a few more events like this, where they play against some of the EU competition and see where they stand. And right now, I'm gonna throw some question marks over both the teams, in fact. Like forZe, great win today, but it was a domestic derby. But when it comes down to them facing off against some of these tier 1.5, tier 2 EU teams, they still seem to struggle a little bit. Now, I don't know it's because of the play style and whatnot, but I still want to see a little bit more from the CIS teams before I can be like, all right, they can compete, they can hold their own against some of these top 15, top 20 teams.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point as well, because obviously they both had a bit of a baptism by fire going against OG and Complexity respectively on the weekend. And I think it's a sort of difficult thing to talk about. And obviously we're going to be bidding farewell to Spirit, but we were speaking about it earlier and saying, you know, how young this team really is in terms of the actual just players' ages. Magic's only 17 years old. And we did see some flares of brilliance from him as well, didn't we, Christine?
We did, man. On top A, on Dust 2, the flicks, he had one bullet left in his AK. A huge part of me wished that he was going to land that one tap towards that cat and have a highlight reel for himself. I thought he totally deserved it. But you're right, Freya. His performance this weekend, look, it wasn't superstar performance. He's not the next coming Simple in CIS, but he's only 17 years old. He's got a lot of room to grow. And I think it's just exciting to see him be such a well-rounded player, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And at 17, you know, you got a lot of time ahead of you to be practicing and playing up against some of these higher tier teams. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing them go any further at this particular DreamHack Open event. But I also just wanted to touch on the maps as well. We were talking about it a little bit beforehand, saying, you know, they do favor Team Spirit. In your opinion, Blair, do you feel like you maybe saw some weaknesses from them?
Someone's at the door.
Oh, speaking of which, we've been interrupted, and I believe we've been interrupted by none other than Jerry. Thank you so much for joining us. Massive congratulations on that win. This is the first time all year that you've managed to beat Team Spirit. Can you tell me how the team's feeling and what was going through your head in those final rounds?
I was thinking all the time when we started the T side, like how could we manage to beat them? Because I knew exactly how are they gonna approach that play. And A side, I know that they have the weak spot on short.
We might be having a few audio issues. Hopefully, we can get those resolved.
Could you hear me?
Jerry.
Could you hear me? No.
He's waving though.
He's waving. He's still having a good time.
Oh
Let's
my
see.
god.
Hopefully, he can
He's
solve
fixing
this.
Could you hear
I bet he
me?
could just put a thumbs up and be like, yes, it was a good feeling. Still can't hear you.
Literally.
It was a good
Thumbs
feeling. It was
up.
a good feeling. There you go.
But not in Discord, apparently.
Okay.
What?
so I guess everyone can
Could you hear me?
Oh, you can hear
Oh,
me.
yeah, there we
Nice.
go. There we go.
Fine.
Sorry about that.
So back to the question. Yeah, I was thinking all the time how should we approach that T side on the Dust 2, because I perfectly knew that it's much better than the Spirits one, and I knew they have a weak spot on short. So all calls was all about taking short, use the smokes or the A side, and just play the retake 4v4, and I think we managed to did that well. And if we're speaking about that round against one AVP and the scout, that was just a good clutch from me, and I'm really satisfied because my performance on the Inferno and Nuke was terrifying.
Yeah, Christine, you were literally saying that, weren't you? I wonder if you have any words that you wanted to ask Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry, I wanted to get straight to the meat and potatoes. It's no secret that 2020 hasn't been the most successful for you and your squad, and I see you tweeting out some things here and there. What do you think has been the biggest problem for your squad to find that next level of success?
We just found a new coach, LMB tier, and he was adding some new things, some new strategies to our strat book, and The first time I could have said that it was some kind of adaptation, but after that we still managed to had everything set up. Everything was fine, but we still lost a lot of games. And I was thinking all the time, what is the biggest problem here? And I think 2020 was just a kind of unlucky year, and the main problem in our squad is still remaining team spirit. I mean, not team spirit we just won. I mean, the team spirit, team building, and everything. So soon we're coming to the boot camp in Moscow, and I think maybe there we can solve that problem because we're not supporting each other like we did before. I mean, it's still happening in TeamSpeak, but it sounds like weird, like it's not the same old force we had, like not the same old support. It's like something you must say. It's not like you want to say it. It's like you must say that, if you know what I mean.
Well, hopefully this win against Spirit can build the foundations to forZe getting back to that standard. Thank you so much again for joining us, and go and celebrate your win with your teammates.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Always fantastic to get to hear from some of the players. And it's been a heated day of action here so far. And even though it may be cooling down a little bit in EU, NA is about to bring the fire. We've bid farewell to Mad Lions and now Team Spirit, and now one more must join them. The pressure is going to be on for our third elimination match. It's Yeah versus Cloud9 coming up.